Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, Daredevil, issue number 17. Dude, after this dude, Chip Zdarsky, went and just had one of the best freaking comic books that I've probably ever read. That's X-Men plus Fantastic Four, issue number 1, dropped the same week. Go and check out that review if you need to, or you already read the book and you know. This was good. It's not as hot as that. Holy crap, that was next level. But you still come back over here and you're just remembering that ongoing crazy story this dude is telling, man. This guy has got to go down as one of the greats of all time because of everything he's doing right now. Let's get talking about all that good stuff after we give credit where credit's due. I may have mentioned Chip Zdarsky's on the book, but believe it or not, he didn't do the whole book by himself. Let's get talking about the other people. Artist Jorge Fornes, color artist Nolan Woodard. We've got VC's Clayton Cowles doing the letters and Julian Totino Tedesco doing the cover. Boom. This issue is called Through Hell, Part 7. What? Longer than 6-issue arc? Once again, I loves me some Chip Zdarsky, man. Who wrote the book, by the way. Just saying, he wrote this book. So, you have a bunch of stuff happening here. First off, you remember that dude that he killed in the first arc of this run? Yeah, he finally goes and he starts talking to the mama, talking about, oh, a bunch of money came in. And turns out he's trying to explain why he's trying to give money to help her out and whatnot. And she's like, yeah, listen, my other son told me that you killed my son. I know that you're Daredevil. I know all of this and I know that and I know all this other crazy stuff. And, she's trying to be cool about it. And Matt's surprised. It's like, dude, you specifically told you let him figure this stuff out because that thing in the police precinct. On top of that, you told Foggy to tell this guy, to go and do whatever you need to do with this information, including sue him if you want to. And he wants to punish Daredevil. He wants to punish Daredevil for what happened. But he's young. He's young and he's dumb. You know what I'm saying? He's full of testosterone. He's full of piss and vinegar. And he wants to hurt Daredevil because he took from him. Which is the common thing that's, your average person is going to do when someone is hurt in their family. Because, blood is thicker than water. Everybody suddenly becomes freaking Vin Diesel and Fast and the Furious. Family. Everything's about family. And we're going to have a little action scene over here. This is going to come back to Vin Diesel saying the word family again. It's like, dude, enough. They're really cool movies, but enough, all right? Enough with the family thing. Anyway, but Mama, she's a little bit better than that. She's actually a lot better than that. And her conversation that she has with Matt is great. Of course, Matt is a Catholic, so saying, I forgive you, it's not very different from hearing God forgives you. Or maybe it means more. Because it's never God saying it, right? It's always the priest saying it. It's always the voice of God, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? The intercessor of God speaking. In this particular case, you have the woman saying it directly. The owner of forgiveness, of this particular bit of forgiveness, actually says it directly. I forgive you. And all that happens in between the admission and the forgiveness is incredible writing. Now look, Zdarsky isn't perfect, all right? I'm going to point out something here that I really just did not like, and I don't think that he really gets it enough in order to get it. I don't know if Zdarsky's Catholic or not. I don't know if he has any or ever had any religion. I don't know. He's very open about just being cool. Follow his Twitter. He's like coolest guy, But over here, this part in here with, was it Sister Elizabeth, I think it was? Blah, 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 blah. Matthew, Sister Elizabeth. Yep, I was right. I'm Professor Bill. Of course I'm right. Anyway, sarcasm, my peeps. Jersey sarcasm. So, yeah, this interaction he has with Sister Elizabeth is like, it's not good. It's not good. It's kind of like, what exactly is happening here in this church right now? Just skip these 2 pages. I don't need to see these 2 pages. They were not good. All right? But, it's kind of like you got to have a low in order to ride that high again. So Mindy, the chick who he slept with, who's married to the mafia dude, who's now higher up, and she goes and Hammerhead gets shot in the head, doesn't mean anything, and everybody here knows that doesn't mean anything. Adamantium, secondary adamantium, but adamantium nonetheless. All right, it's like 1/10 as strong as actual, true adamantium. I still adamantium up there. That ain't gonna do nothing to him. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna be like, he's gonna wake up and he's gonna be like, you know how many times I've been shot in the head? And it pisses me off every time it happens? Yeah. Hammerhead's gonna be fine, all right? Anyhow, all that being what it may, the what do you call this? That she goes and takes over the family again. Everybody's up there again, and the dumb son runs up and he's like, oh, but this book seems to be about dumb sons. What's going on here? Excuse me. Anyway, he runs up to Mindy. Oh, hey, everything's gonna work out. Mom's in charge again. And it's like, dude, you're stupid. Why are you here? I'm getting out of town with our kid because it's dangerous now. It's more dangerous. And sure enough, kid gets kidnapped. Oh man, on the orders of Mr. Owlsley, right? The owl, dude. This book just keeps throwing things at you. And the only real action in the book, besides a bullet wound to an impregnable head, is Matt refusing to fight the Stromwind's bodyguards in a costume contest. It's funny that Fisk was the one who was supposed to go, but Matt winds up going instead. We get a different mayor, right? This particular former mayor. I got the impression that Fisk was going to go, but I guess since he didn't show up, I guess he decided not to go, which is interesting because they're showing Juggernaut with a vulnerability. He's afraid. He's afraid. You see, they're showing that Wilson Fisk has actually lost his edge. He's given up the mafia thing. Exactly the reason why somebody like the Owl, who is simply not as competent as you like to think, he's the guy, way back in the day, even if you're like, I'm a huge Owl fan, what's the difference between Kingpin and the Owl? Owl would be front lines. Sometimes you'd never see his men. You'd see him doing all this stuff. And Kingpin was smart in that. Very few people are more capable physically than the Kingpin. Yet he didn't want to get his hands dirty. Even if he wanted to, he refused to get his hands dirty, except in very specific cases, which is why he was always able to stay out of prison. Owl is simply not as smart as Kingpin, right? So, what do you call it? When we see Kingpin afraid of the Stromwinds, because they're essentially what he was. He's seeing the shadow of his former self. To me, it's almost like seeing Anakin Skywalker, if he would have survived Return of the Jedi, looking back at, oh no, Darth Vader just walked out. What would Anakin Skywalker's worst nightmare be after his son Luke saved him? It would be Darth Vader. And that's pretty much what I'm comparing this to here. This was brilliant writing. I love what I'm seeing here. Guys, I cannot praise this comic book enough, man. Granted, I can overlook this, but this was not good. but all the other pages on both sides of it, dude, fantastic book. Zdarsky is just one of those people, man. It doesn't matter. Like, if you read the comic book, you know it's a good comic book. And that's a major player in this particular game. Zdarsky is writing some really deep stuff, and you could choose to look into the politics. You could choose to look into the economics. That shouldn't trigger anybody. But you can look into these things and just say, I can't find an argument for this. You know what I'm saying? And if I can, I'm pretty sure Daredevil is going to come across that later. The funny thing is, when you think about some of the greatest villains that we know about, okay, we're going to leave Red Skull out of this. This is a conversation I had earlier on Twitch today. By the way, you guys can find me on Twitch. Come and find me on Twitch, I'm saying. Go and check out my most recent podcast. You'll get all the Twitch information there. Check this out. What happened? I mean, I'll try and remember to put a link in the bottom. But anyway, conversation I had was, not all of the greatest supervillains think that they're heroes. Case in point, Red Skull does not think that he's a hero. But Dr. Doom does. He thinks that he's right. Lex Luthor, even, for the most part, does. And when he's written the best, it's when he's thinking he's actually doing the good thing. Even though we could see he's just jealous of Superman and everybody can see it, he can't. That's the crucial part there, right? And we can look at Magneto and all this, and we can look at Scott. We can look at Cyclops. Cyclops was right. The fact that somebody has to say Cyclops was right means that there's a bunch of people who thought that he was wrong and still do. So there's that. With this particular case, Matt Murdock is the guy, Daredevil is the guy who thinks he's right. While at the same time, all his friends around him are saying, dude, you're the villain here. You're the one who's doing wrong. This isn't who you are. This ain't you. And he's just not seeing that. Well, didn't mean for the blind joke to be in there, but you get it, right? You get it. Exclude the pun. He just doesn't get it. That he's actually not the good guy in this situation. He's not the guy right now that God would be sending an angel to sit on his shoulder and guide him through stuff. Matt's all alone in this. Even the devils, like Elektra, she's gone too. The people who have needed him, who needed him, they're gone now because they got what they wanted. And the people who want to help him, who are selflessly trying to help him, Matt's pushing them away. He's in a hell of a place right now. Goes back to, the through hell thing, right? But he is literally in a hell of a place right now. And I can't wait to see where the story just continues. And I don't expect a conclusion to this story anytime soon, this arc or this run or anything. I just expect this to be a badass comic book. We're going to keep on reading straight through. And he's going to have his highs, he's going to have his lows. And I want to be there the whole entire time. I want to be the witness. This was good, man. Can I get a witness? Right here. Professor Bill. Hey guys, real quick, I know your time is valuable. If you see a video at the end of this, could you please consider watching it? Even if you're going to watch your next video in another window on your phone or whatever, please consider letting the ad play through at the end from the beginning to the end, or in the beginning of a video, something like that. It's the only way that not just me, all of us content creators, that's the only way that we actually get paid from these videos. We don't make money by views or likes or dislikes or subscribes or whatever. The way that we make money is through that. So any of your content creators that you love, please consider letting an ad play all the way through. You don't have to click on anything, just don't click away from anything. That's pretty much it. And feel free to look at anything else that you see up here on the the wall, because there's that also. Anyway, guys, that's all I got to ask. Just consider for your favorite content creators, all right, the ones that you value the most, help them to actually stay in business and continue bringing you really great content, myself included. Thank you.